You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets on Media Network.
Welcome to the Arms Room with Glenn
and John
and Mason.
Who
introed us very well today, Mason.
Yes.
Golf clap.
Oh, so fantastic. For your first big time that you have done everything very well. Thank you very much. Did a great job.
Thank you.
How was your weekend, Mason? What'd you do?
Actually, I attended a basic pistol class this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, a good buddy of mine that I work with over at the surplus store has his own company called Complacency Kills.
Interesting.
LLC. And yeah, his name's Joe Markham. I took his basic pistol class this weekend.
Cool.
Took my dad to it, so.
Very cool.
A little bonding experience.
Always good to get out and do some remedial training, man.
Definitely.
Always good. And you know what? I'll tell you what, not enough people put stock in basic training classes, your basic pistol classes. I mean, so many people I know will type like, when's your next defensive level class? When's your next advanced kill people class? And it's like, when was the last time you took a basic pistol class? When was the last time you professionally brushed up on your fundamentals, on your marksmanship, on your handling, on your safety? Because the reality of things is, you know, you always think you're a good shooter until someone's kind of looking over your shoulder, tweaking you a little bit. It really is important. It's just important to go to those basic classes. So absolutely, it's a good job, man. Very good. John, how about you? What do you got going on?
I sewed all weekend.
I know you're such a seamstress.
I know. Well, big order to fill. So delivering it today.
You got a big order to fill.
Yeah, buddy.
Tall order.
And some family time, you know, just hanging out.
Do you sew by hand?
Well, I use a machine.
So then they're technically not handmade.
No, they're machine made.
But there's a hand controlling the machine, so.
It's actually a foot.
But they're made in America.
But they're made in America by a veteran.
America.
And Arizona, more specific.
In Arizona. Of course, we're talking about John's company, Red Wire Gear. Lots of cool products over there. Lots of good stuff from
Some
John.
big stuff coming out too the next few months.
Big stuff already out, man. Don't understand.
Well, there's some big stuff out. But
yeah, Jeff Full Sling, our preferred range med kit, the Mark 82, makes the pouches for the independence training PFAC, the Mark 81 pouch. Cool new rifle squeeze bag we're gonna start using for all our precision shooting. Perfect squeeze bag. Very, very good setup. And cool little card wallets.
Yeah, everybody needs a wallet.
I carry my business cards in them.
They make great stocking stuffers.
They do. They will also hold 2 10-round stripper clips.
That's right. They will.
2 10-round stripper clips. I use them for business cards. I know people who use them as a primary wallet. So very, very cool stuff. And they're $15.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I think there's some different options you can get or something. Right? So, so lots of cool stuff. RedWireGear.com, right?
That is correct, sir.
So check him out. If you have no idea what John does, that's what he does. And in addition to working for Independence Training, he also does that. He also takes apart bombs, and he's also a hell of a dad. So look at this multitasker over here. I had a pretty good weekend. I basically got punched and stabbed all weekend.
That's good. You look well for being stabbed all
you look
weekend.
pretty healthy.
Yeah.
Except for that bit of a shiner.
I got a shiner.
Kicking it middle school style, buddy. Oh, yeah.
Little action under the arms
what happens
there.
When little arm trap and drag action.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I have some similar stuff on the other arm. The mountain goat. Yeah.
Oh, my God, dude.
It's the worst it's ever been, dude.
That's horrible.
That's the third time I've done the mountain goat exercise, and that is the worst it's ever been.
We need to talk to Craig about that one.
Dude, he won't have it.
Damn it.
He loves that exercise. It's part of like his thing now. You know, like you've seen his Jolly Roger shirt, right? It's got the mountain goat skull with the big bloody. Yeah, it's got a mountain goat skull with a big bloody forehead. So yeah,
I find that I want that shirt.
It's like a thing for him. But yeah, the mountain goat drill is useful, but damn, it hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you know, and so of course you do it like in the first part of the first day. So yeah, and so I went and took the Edge Weapons Overview class, or the EWO class, from our friend Craig Douglas over at ShivWorks. Craig, of course, has been on the show and talked about the need for opposition and training. Basically, he highly believes in pressure testing people. And I'll tell you what, when you're getting pressure tested, you know, last night getting beat up by two guys. One dude with boxing gloves hitting you as hard as he can. Another dude with a fake knife stabbing you, and you're trying to fight your way out of it. It is a serious deal, and a lot of people think they're hard asses, but they've never really been pressure tested. And until you get pressure tested,
everybody's a hard ass till they get hit in the head really hard one time.
That's right.
That's a fact of life.
And Brad, if you're listening, we all know that Glenn's been hit in the head.
Good job, Brad.
Real hard, at least one time.
I'm gonna buy you a beer the next time I see you, sir. Excellent work.
Cheapest cheap shot ever.
And then I'm gonna send you to a boxing gym or a Muay Thai gym because you should have put him on his. You should have put him out, bro.
He made me stumble, dude.
Should have put you out.
He made me stumble. When you come up from behind somebody that's supposed to be on your team, so to speak, and you cold clock them from the freaking, that hurt.
Excellent work,
thanks, Brad,
sir.
for bringing the pain, buddy.
Excellent work.
But yeah, it was a great class. All classes with Craig are awesome. They're very practical. It's a very douche-free zone. There's really no jerks in that class and in any of his classes because you couldn't survive in a ShivWorks class if you were a jerk. You wouldn't make it because it's too. There's no room for ego
on your back.
Yeah, there's no room. Oh, people would. Yeah, they would beat it out of you.
Yeah.
Thing is that there's no room for it. You are, the fun thing about ShivWorks classes, everybody dies.
Mm-hmm.
The fastest, strongest, smartest guy in the class is going to die. There was a kid in there, or I shouldn't say kid, he's a man in the class who was a really good fighter, really fast. I think he has some Muay Thai experience. Might still actively be doing that. Super fast hands. I mean, super fast. And we were sparring with each other, and he'd be jabbing and stabbing me. I mean, usually he'd hit me twice, and I wouldn't realize I was hit once until the second one landed. I mean, he's just so fast, and he was really doing a good job, in the evolutions, really fighting his way, really working hard, and he just simply tripped, man. He lost his balance and tripped, and then just got pummeled and got pinned. I mean, he was working the whole time. Of course, you're fighting the whole time, but he was having a go of it. I mean, as soon as he hit the ground, those two guys were on him fast, and they know what they're doing. That's the thing about in that class. There's really not a lot of rookies. Everyone has some kind of experience, some level of training, and then of course Craig is a great teacher, so he teaches you all the stuff you really need to know for the class. And I tell you what, man, it's hell of training. If you're anywhere where you can get to a ShivWorks class with our friend Craig, do it. Do it. I've been training with Craig now for a couple of years. We host him once a year for his ECQC class. We'll keep doing it until the time we can't do it anymore. Till even when Craig passes the torch at some point in time, we'll always host ShivWorks. Their course material is unlike anything else. So if you're somewhere you can take a ShivWorks class, highly, highly, highly recommend it. Great stuff. Very different than anyone else out there is teaching. Very practical. Very realistic. Sometimes people watch the videos online and they get scared, like, "Oh man, that's so intense. I'll never be in that situation." You need to be pressure tested, man. And in ECQC, you're going to get shot, with Sims rounds. And in EWO, you're going to get stabbed. You're going to get punched. You're going to get thrown around. That's a good way to get pressure tested. Know what you can absorb, know what you're capable of, know what you can do.
Yep.
So that's
I'm
what
really
I did
sorry
weekend.
that I missed that.
Man, I wish you could have been there. I really hope you can make the next one. I really hope you
to.
can. It was pretty awesome. I learned a lot, and I have no edged weapons background at all. None. I mean, I've cut open a lot of boxes. I've skinned a lot of animals. Cut a lot of rope in my time.
Yep.
We
cut open a few MRE packages.
Cut open a lot of MRE packages. Yeah, I've done a lot of that with my knife. Outside of blood. Makes green grass grow kind of stuff. I haven't really had any weapons or any knife training at all.
Yeah.
That was really my knife combative training was green, blood makes green grass grow kind of stuff. Other than that, knives have always been a utility thing. So this weekend was a real eye opener for the knife as a real, honest, dedicated weapon. That was a big deal. Very cool. Learned a lot about it. I could go on all day about that class. It was great.
Before we get started,
go.
Happy birthday to all of my fellow jarheads out there.
Semper Fi, Marines.
Hoorah.
Excellent work. All right, we may continue now.
All right. So things that are happening in the news, interesting things.
Please let me know.
Have you checked? Did you guys see? This is kind of off topic what we normally talk about. But did you see the Ferguson rioters issued a list of demands to the law enforcement?
I kind of saw that. Yeah.
I didn't read the whole story, I have to admit, but freaking funny, dude.
Well,
I mean, you're a big group of freaking D-bags, and you're issuing a list of demands to law enforcement. Like, I know there's not everyone listens to the show is a huge fan of law enforcement. We're not always a fan of everything that goes on there, but you know what? There's still guys doing a tough job, and there's still good ones out there. You know, remember this. Some of us are them and some of them are us, right? So don't ever discount all law enforcement as, you know, the other side of things. I tell you what, man, that just really cracked me up. There was something else driving over here I was going to think. I got distracted on the way over here because I had to take care of some personal matters. But all right. There was something else I was thinking about on the way over here. I was like, oh, I got to talk about that on the show. And it kind of slipped my mind.
It'll come to
something military related or gun related or something. Yeah, it probably was.
That Israeli girl that got stabbed. Did you hear about that?
No, tell me, Mason. What you talking about?
An Israeli teenage girl got stabbed in I forgot the name of the village, but over in Israel.
Oh man!
And apparently an Israeli soldier was stabbed as well. I'm not sure. They didn't say in the article. They just
like a hate kind of crime thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, that's too bad. I hope she's okay.
It's terrible assault knives.
Dang assault knives. So today we're going to be talking about concealment, and really deep cover or deep concealment is what we were really going to be talking about. But I also want to just kind of talk about concealment in general.
That's an excellent topic. Because
there's a lot of people, and when I'm talking about concealment, I'm not talking about hiding in the bushes or, the difference between cover and concealment. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about concealing a weapon.
Right.
Last week, we talked about, things that you could carry in non-permissive environments, improvised tools that you could make or carry. By the way, I do want to shout out to my good friend, Steve, who originally gave me the lock idea. You know, I talked about using a gun lock as a weapon, and that, you know, it's carryable because it's a lock. I did quote him last week when I said that you hit someone on the face with that, or hit someone in the head with that thing. It's coloring books for Christmas.
Yeah,
I did get that from my very good friend Steve. So Steve, thank you very much for passing that on to me years ago. Got that from Steve, and I wanted to quote him. He's traveling right now, I think, around the country doing gun store business. So.
Oh, our buddy Steve.
Yeah, our buddy Steve.
Oh,
yeah, good guy.
Hi, Steve.
Good guy. So anyways, the issue of concealing a firearm is different than what we talked about last week. I mean, last week we were talking about just solely different types of tools and weapons.
We left firearms and knives out last
Firearms
week.
and knives were out. So now let's talk about guns, because concealing a firearm is something that that comes up a lot in training. Because here's the thing. People show up to a training class, let's say, all right, and as instructors, John and I have seen thousands of students come through classes.
Yes.
So we see these students, and they've got a gun on their hip, and some on the waistband holster, and they're training out of it, and that's great. And then you start talking to them like, yeah, well, I want to carry a gun. Okay, well, how are you going to carry it? Well, I have no idea.
Right.
Or we get this. Yeah, I can still carry every day. Oh, well, what do you normally use? Oh, not this thing. This thing's too big. And typically what it is like they're out there training with a full-size M&P 9, and you're like, oh, so what do you carry? Do you carry like a shield, an M&P shield or something?
No, I carry an LC 380.
Yeah, exactly.
In my back pocket.
Exactly. They're like, yeah, well, no, I carry, I train like this. I have a big gun that I train with off my hip, but then I carry a tiny little gun in my pocket, in a bag, in my purse, in some crazy under the shirt thing, in an ankle holster, something like that. And you're like, interesting. So do you train with that gun? Do you train from that environment? I think John will agree with me when I say probably one of the scariest students we ever had. Oh. In fact, I won't say that he was scary. He wasn't scary.
The situation was terrifying, dude.
The time that I literally prepped a med kit, like I was ready to use this thing more than likely, was we had a student that we felt after a little bit of skill building that he was okay, and we allowed him to do this throughout the class.
Right, yeah.
But it was a defensive handgun class, and the guy was drawing and reconcealing his Ruger LCP 380 out of a pocket holster.
Yep, out of his front pocket.
And I tell you what, man, that guy went through 350 rounds that day with movement and manipulation and the marksmanship, all the stuff we do in our defensive handgun class, and I was impressed. His ability to shoot was pretty good. His ability to control the gun by the end of the day was very, very good. And
like the first 2 hours,
obviously never had an MD.
The first 2 hours of the day, I was terrified. Like every time he was going to put that thing back, I'm like, oh my God, is this gonna be the one?
I was sure we were going to be patching up a bullet hole.
This is going to be the one.
Tourniquet on.
Oh my Lord.
But you know what? He did a really good job.
He did a fantastic job. Good on him for coming out and training with that.
Good on him, dude, for coming out and training with a low capacity firearm, 6 or 7 rounds, whatever that thing carries. Not a lot of rounds. He was reloading a ton.
Yeah, it was.
In fact, it got to the point where he was, I think he had 2 or 3 magazines, but he also would always bring down a pocket full of rounds. Mm-hmm. And every time we, weren't doing something, we were teaching or anything, boom, he was over there loading his magazines. And he was really interested. He's like, I have a belt holster I can train out of, but I really want to train the way I carry. And I was like, dude, that is solid. Thank you for wanting to train the way that you carry. Because we see that a lot. We see ladies, they come out to classes, they want to train comfortably, but then they want to carry a gun in their purse. Yes, some of the skills obviously are going to transition, but it's important to practice. What are some of the issues? Not because I don't have confidence that she could draw a gun out of her purse, but what are some of the things that she's going to encounter? Is the gun going to get snagged? Is the gun too big for the purse? Is the gun going to move around in there? Does it have an exposed trigger guard? I mean, there's a lot of things that we can figure out in training that, we don't want to have to figure out in the real world. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. Concealment in general, but also the idea of kind of a quote unquote deep concealment. Now, what I'm going to do on our first break, which is coming up here in a few minutes, I'm going to go to the Independence Training YouTube channel. And I'm going to pull off a video we did like maybe a year ago, maybe a little bit more, about my absolute favorite tuckable holster, which is the Remora tuckable holster. And I'm going to put that link on the Arms Room Facebook page so that everybody can see it. Very, very cool. You can also go to the Independence Training channel, YouTube channel, that's what I'm going to say. And and you can find it there. Just, go to our channel and, look for the Remora thing. And it's a great tuckable holster, and that'll really, really talk to a lot to concealment. We'll kind of get to that in a minute. So first thing we want to really kind of get into, and I want to get this out of the way before we go on break. So we've got a couple minutes before break. Let's talk about it for a couple minutes, then let's be done with it. Okay. And then we'll come back to the topic.
Ready, go.
Training.
If
you're going to carry a gun and you believe that because you were raised around guns, you spent time in the military, you're a cop or whatever, that you are done with training,
you're wrong.
Go to one of Craig's classes.
Yeah.
You'll get shot. You'll get beat up. The fact of the matter is, everybody kind of does anyways, but the fact of the matter is, your training is never really complete. If you're going to carry a firearm, this is a big responsibility to take on in your life, right? And that responsibility requires a higher standard of care in how you're going to learn. So, a gun is not a strap-on accessory. It's not a watch. It's not a bracelet. It's not a belt. It's a really big piece of equipment that you're kind of taking responsibility for. You're taking responsibility when that thing comes out, you're going to use it properly. You're taking responsibility that no one's going to be able to take it away from you. You're taking responsibility that that you're not going to make an ass out of yourself with it, or an ass out of the rest of us with it. So there's a lot of responsibility that goes.
I wish everyone accepted those responsibilities.
I wish they did. Get training. I don't care how much of a badass gunslinging, body slaying Jedi warrior king you think you are. Get some training.
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. Train with people. Mason, right? He's proficient with a handgun. Still took a basic pistol class with his old man. That's awesome. Awesome.
High five, buddy.
High five. Ooh, air five, Mason.
Yeah.
Very cool. We still go train. Obviously, just talking about this weekend. We still go train with other people. We still go learn the skill sets that we know we need to improve on, or even that we may not necessarily think we need to improve on, but we do. And a lot of us get this false sense of security. And in fact, I was talking to some friends this weekend at the training, and they said that there's this idea. In fact, I think it was our friend Jason from TCB, because he was at the.
If it was a really deep thought, it was probably Jason.
I know most
of our other friends. So
I think
we love you, Brad.
I think Jason said, and I can't remember where he pulled it from, but basically the idea is the higher level of confidence, generally the lower level of competence. And the higher level of competence, generally the less people think of themselves. So, for example, you'll hear like yesterday at class, I'm hearing Cecil Birch, who's this incredible black belt jiu-jitsu guy.
He's been on the show.
He's been on the show before. Cecil's an amazing guy, international, Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, very, very, very accomplished.
Unassuming.
Very unassuming, gentleman. Very great. And, he said, he's sitting there going, I'm not really that fast or that strong. I'm just a guy, I'm kind of fat and old and everything. I'm like, and you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, no big deal. And you roll with some of the best black belts in the world, literally, and no big deal. You go internationally and teach these seminars on combatives and stuff, no big deal. Yeah, you're right, Sisu, real fat and old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
you should really get in shape and try to do something with
exactly.
your life.
Do something with your life, man.
Jesus, man.
And so you see that a lot with guys, kind of a humility, so to speak. Now, don't mistake that humility for a lack of confidence in themselves. They know what they can do. They know that they're good. But there's kind of this greater sense of humility at what they're able to accomplish.
It's the same thing that you get with Medal of Honor recipients or any type of valor recipients. Sure. They're like, I didn't do anything.
Right.
I was just doing what
everyone else was doing. Yep. I was doing what everyone else was doing. I just happened to get singled out for it. I just happened to do it a little bit different than someone else was doing or whatever, man. I'm not special. You see that a lot. You're right. And those guys, are very humble. And then you kind of have the braggarts out there, who are like, well, I got this gun and I grew up with guns. I'm a hunter and I've done this and I've been in the military and I'm a cop and everything like that. And it's like, look, that doesn't mean you don't know anything. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is, like you said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. Get out and do some training. If you think that you're the most badass dude, go roll with some badass dudes. Mm-hmm. Prove it. You know what I mean? Pressure test yourself to still, from Craig, pressure test yourself. Get out there and really prove it. Don't allow yourself to get this false sense of confidence. Don't go out shooting by yourself, basically.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Because you're right. When you're the only dude there, you are the best.
You are awesome.
So get out and train. Take classes. Take what you learn in a class. And then get out and test it and try it and prove it, improve it as well. Get out there and work on it. Dry practice, live fire, get out and take other skill sets. Get out and train. If you're going to carry concealed, especially, there's more that goes into it. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about for the rest of the show, there's more to it. So that's kind of all I want to say about training, because obviously, we talk about that all day, but that's kind of our training bit.
I love how fresh your fired upness is after you go and
after I get my ass beat.
Yeah, you're always so fired up. You're like training.
I'm always like that.
You're always like that, but there's like a special, there's a little special something that comes out after a good hard weekend of training.
Maybe that's true. But so get out and do some training. With all the stuff we're going to talk about today, none of it is a buy this holster, put it on, and you're a gunfighter kind of thing. It's all going to be you got to train, especially from concealment, because there's so many possible issues. So make sure you get out and take a real concealment class. Don't just take a regular old class. Take something where someone's going to teach you about concealment, right? All right. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into a little bit more about the concealment concepts, general concealment concepts, and then we'll get into deep cover, kind of what we consider to be quote unquote deep cover, good options that we've seen work well, options we haven't seen work as well. All right. So we got to go on break. You are listening to The Arms Room.
Are you or someone you know looking for a new job or career? The Vets on Media family would like to invite you to the National Career Fair in Phoenix on November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. This free job fair will be held at the Phoenix Airport Marriott Hotel, located at 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. This is your chance to meet some of the top employers in the Phoenix area face-to-face. Get ready to jumpstart your new career at the National Career Fair in Phoenix, November 17th from 11 until 2 p.m. at the Phoenix Marriott Hotel, 1101 North 44th Street, Phoenix. For more information, visit ncfairs.com/Phoenix. Again, that's ncfairs.com/Phoenix.
Break it, 1-9. How about that bandit? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in your life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets On Media Network.
All right, you're back on The Arms Room.
Wow. That guy's getting good. He's getting this. He's figuring this out.
He is, man. He's solid. All right, so by chance, if you want to call in and to the show, which no one ever does, but just in case you actually have one, you can call in and talk to us or ask your questions or give your comments. 602-399-7787. You can always post your questions or comments on our Facebook page at The Arms Room, and we'll happily answer those. And you can always do that after the show as well. I know most of our listeners are listening after the show. So if you ever need to, you ever want to get a hold of us, you can always jump on our Facebook page and leave a question or a comment or send us a message or something. We'll respond to it. So I am going to post this video real quick on our Arms Room Facebook page. Speaking of the Facebook page, I didn't do it during the break. I was going to, and then John was talking, and I was laughing. I didn't get around to it. So,
Blame John.
Squirrel. All right.
Oh, shiny.
Hold on. Wait for it.
Shiny.
It is almost coming soon to your Facebook feed. Boom! It's there.
Bam.
All right. So now if you want to.
That just happened live.
Just happened live. So there it is. You can go there. It's a review, our review on the Remora tuckable holster. I'm in like a dress shirt and slacks. It's the only tuckable. That was super gay, what you just did.
What?
I said I was in like shirt and tie, and you were like, I like me a white boy and some slacks and a dress shirt. All right.
Hey there, Muscly.
So anyways.
So moving on before this gets way out of hand.
This is about to go out of control.
It's too late.
So that video's up, and it's just our review on the tuckable holster. I've tried a lot of tuckable holsters, so holsters that you can use, for tucked in shirts for those, whether you have to do it for dress, whether you have to do it because you're wearing like scrubs or something like that. I have a doctor, a client of ours that uses this exact holster because he's, in scrubs most of the time for his job. He prefers in his particular area of work, he likes to be able to carry a firearm. And boom, there it is. So it's a great holster for that. Good for ladies, if you want to tuck in a shirt, in the pants or anything like that. Even guys who just wear tucked in shirts,
Well, it also, that particular brand of holster also does not require a belt.
That's also true. So that's
a huge advantage for ladies.
Huge advantage for ladies. I wear them. I think we've talked about it in the past. I don't remember why or when, or what show it was, but we use Remora holsters for running, for biking. Great for that. I can wear my track pants and a Remora holster. They're American made. They're like $30. I get them for any gun. Now, that being said, all right, I'm going to kind of regress here just a little bit back to what we were talking about earlier, the big gun, little gun thing. Right. So, because that has it is specifically to do with when we're talking about concealment methods, which we kind of want to talk about general concealment stuff. So, most people buy big guns to shoot, little guns to carry. Right. Now, there's some of us, like I carry a full-size handgun. That works for me in my lifestyle. All right. Some people, it works for them in their lifestyle to carry a full-size handgun, right? That being said, when I go to church, when I go into some business meetings, when I go to some locations where I don't want to be made as easily, I will switch to another gun. Now, it's a specific gun that I switch to. I'm not doing like, well, I wear this gun during the summer and this gun during the winter and this gun to church and this gun to a barbecue and this gun to that. Like, that's ridiculous.
Guilty.
All right. I knew that was you. You totally have a barbecue gun, don't you?
I have a party gun. But
all right. Let's just
never mind. Turn his mic off.
Yeah.
So
you failed.
So anyways, so I have a specific other gun. It is a subcompact 9mm. I'm really not a fan of the smaller calibers. Now, you know, I'm sure there's someone, well, I carry a 380. Good for you.
Good job.
All right. I don't prefer the small calibers. I don't prefer the 380s, 32s, 25s, 22s. Historically speaking, yes, I know shot placement is all about where it's at. I get that. Trust me. I
wasn't even going to say anything.
All right. But the thing is a lot of those calibers, they're just, the problem is the energy that they're able to deliver. Right? Are they able to penetrate through clothing and tissue and muscle and all that kind of stuff? Plus, are they really that much fun to shoot? Are they inexpensive to shoot? Now, like 22, okay, it's inexpensive to shoot, you know, all that. But again, you're talking about an energy problem. You know, I'm not a man killer, all right? So I base all of my killing power stuff on all the animals I've shot. And I have shot like a freaking ark full of animals, all right? From big game, huge elk to small little tiny squirrels and all that kind of stuff.
Every rattlesnake you come across.
Every rattlesnake, right? And I've shot them with a host of different firearms, from, you know, Russian firearms to American firearms to just about every type of ammunition you can possibly put down. I've been hunting my whole life. And what I do is a big hobby. So I hunt a lot of different types of animals, a lot of different types of guns. I see inside of these animals what happens after I shoot them with certain types of rounds. I'm not comparing the body cavity of a bobcat or an elk or a squirrel to what would happen if I shot a human being. That's not what I'm doing here. There's a lot of different composition differences there, all right, obviously. But I am saying I can judge a lot about bullet performance, all right, penetration capability, expansion of rounds, things like that. I see what works and what doesn't, right?
Right.
And I will tell you that the smaller calibers are not where it's at. So we'll leave it at that. I like 9mm and above for self-defense.
Correct,
all right.
sir.
And of course, you can look at the real world stuff and you can see that evidence supports that as well, right? You want 9mm and up.
Well, that, and at this point in time, since we're talking about gun size, there's a good bit of small 9mm out there if that's what you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Whereas it used to be there were only one or two options in 9mm. Everything else was 380 and below. But now there's
you got the tiny little Diamondback DB9. You've got the cars, the smaller Kel-Tecs,
Ruger,
the Rugers, the LC9s, very small. Lots of small 9mm. No reason you can't carry one. Now, if you're forced into carrying a 380, so be it. If that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. 380 in the hand, I suppose, beats 45 in the bush, right? So that's important. Now, on that note of small guns, right, caliber side, let's talk about small guns. Understand, the smaller I get, the more disadvantages I get, right? I'm going to feel more recoil. I've got a shorter sight radius. I've got less ammunition capacity. I've got less gun to hold on to. There's just less capability of the gun. The only reason we're going small is because it's going to be easier to hide. Now, that being said, how small do we have to go? I submit that we need to start large.
Yep. Start big and then work your way backwards.
Start big, go small. Instead, people go, I want a gun to hunt with, shoot with, hike with, whatever. Boom, I'm going to get this big old 1911 or whatever. Glock 17, whatever, right? Oh, but now I'm going to conceal carry. Boom, I'm going to go for the G26. Boom, I'm going to go for the DB9 or the LC80 or whatever, you know, or LC380. I mean, I'm going to go for these tiny little guns because I got to carry it. Like, whoa. You know, there's stuff between there, right?
What?
You know what I mean? It's your full sizes and your compacts and your subcompacts and your tiny little pocket pistols or pocket rockets or mouse guns or whatever you want to call them.
Pocket rockets.
Yeah.
Easy. Calm down.
Settle down, fella. So there's a lot of options out there. There are really a lot of options, and you need to explore all those options. Don't think I got to get a huge giant gun to shoot with and then a tiny little gun to carry. So really make sure you understand that difference. Now, basic concealment methods, right? Things that we want to consider. And this I'm going to draw from my own personal experience. I'm not going to speak on, what other people's experience may be. John and me are going to draw from our own experience.
Yes.
Thing number one, I hear the idea of dressing around a gun. I don't dress around my gun.
No.
Here's what I may do. One, according to our good friend Jason over TCB and his total carry system idea, which is a good idea, catches a lot of steam over the years. You got to have a good belt.
You do.
A good belt is absolutely, positively the most important thing you'll ever get when carrying. I don't care where you're carrying. A good belt is going to be important, right? So a good belt is important. All right. As we talked about last week, the right belts can also potentially be good improvised weapons. Also advantageous. All right. Another thing is how I dress. Now, what I mean by that is two things. One, I'm a medium-sized t-shirt. I'm a relatively small guy, so I can wear a medium t-shirt and be just fine. I wear a large. I wear a large for a couple reasons. One, it's a little bit looser. It's not, quite so tight under my arms or anything like that. Plus, when you have these huge muscular arms like I do, they really stretch those medium-sized sleeves. So, a large shirt just gives me a little bit more room to move, breathe, and it helps me conceal.
It does.
A little bit more space to conceal. Another thing is I try not to attract a lot of attention to myself when I dress. We talk about the gray man concept. I typically don't wear a lot of gun shirts. Today I happen to be wearing the Arms Room shirt.
I think I have two gun shirts.
We get a lot of shirts from gun companies. I mostly
There's two that I wear.
I mostly wear them for the show. I wear them for our videos on YouTube. I don't wear a lot of them out and about. I'll wear them to classes or business meetings or something like that, kind of represent, who we do business with. But out and about, out on town, taking my wife out or taking the kids to play or something, I just try not to attract a lot of attention. I try not to wear a lot of bright colors. Try not to wear anything that's going to say, hey, look at me. I'm wearing khakis, jeans, whatever. You freaking, what the hell? Did someone throw up on your shoes?
No.
Looks like someone ate a bag of Skittles and barfed on your shoes. So, anyways, if I ever tell you about John's shoe fetish, Adam, I'll tell you later. All right. John has a shoe fetish. But it's a weird one. You thought the other one was weird? This one's weirder. All right.
Why are you putting my business out there?
So,
this is my business.
So that's what I'm going to tell Adam after the show. Right.
Yeah, but you just told everybody else.
I told him he had a shoe fetish. I didn't. Oh, so it's a problem, you think? You need to go seek some help.
I do.
All right. So the idea is dressing around the gun isn't necessarily what we want to do. We want to be able to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to carry. So don't, if you go out, if it's uncomfortable for you to dress and carry a gun.
A really good story for that.
Go.
Back in January, February-ish. I looked at changing the position of where I carried. And the gun I carried at the time was my FNX9. It was a hammer, it was not a striker fired handgun. A great big piece of equipment. And it worked great when I carried in a traditional 3 to 4 o'clock position. And I was like, well, I want to try appendix carry, see how that works out for me. I put that thing on, wore it in my house for about 10 minutes. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much a no-go. So I got to my safe and I had another handgun out there that was a striker fired handgun, still full size handgun. Had our buddy Jason make me up a holster for this thing, threw it on, started wearing it around. Wore it for about a week and a half or so. I was like, I like carrying in this position, but my gun's still too big. So then I had to go and find a different gun. I ended up settling on the Glock because I made the only gun that fit where I wanted to carry that still gave me full capacity. And throughout this entire process, nothing changed except my holster and the position of my gun. I still wear a t-shirt, still wear shorts or pants. I never made any big changes other than position. And then, of course, I had to get a different gun to fit where I needed it to fit. So,
well, there's another idea about that too. And that is weapons access. That's a thing that a lot of people don't think about when they think about concealment. Okay, so great. When you're standing on the range or you're in your perfect little world all day long, you could draw your gun and get it out, right? What about when someone's a foot from you? What about when someone's knocked you on the ground? People carry in their pocket. Here's an example, right? Imagine yourself on the ground. imagine yourself sitting in a chair. Imagine yourself in a situation other than your most perfect situation. Imagine the worst possible situation you could be in. Are you still going to have access to your firearm? You know, for us, we travel a lot. We drive a lot.
Yeah.
For whatever, all kinds of reasons. When we're driving, do you have access to your firearm? You know, your gun's not going to do any good if it's over in the glove box, or someone trying to carjack you and your glove and your gun's in the freaking small of your back, or it's in your purse on the floorboard over there.
I gotta get this thing out for a minute.
Yeah, you know, I mean, imagine yourself wrestling around with someone. You know, someone's punching you, and so you can't draw a gun anyways, and you know, start shooting them or anything. And so as the situation starts to escalate, maybe another person joins in, maybe a weapon gets presented or a tool or something like that, an object you don't want to get hit with, struck with, stabbed with, whatever. And all of a sudden, you've got to be able to get access to your firearm. Can you? If you've got to go through 8 layers of clothing, if your shirts are super tight and you can't get them up over your gun, if you've got a jacket on and then under that a sweater and then under that a t-shirt and then under that, you know, your gun, and that's realistic, man. Winter's coming on. You know, up where I am, we're down in freezing temperature.
I've gotten rid of jackets because I could not clear them over my gun.
So it's important to think about that idea as well. Can I get access? Basic concealment methods or basic kind of concealment stuff that John and I have discovered. Can I get access to the firearm? Right? Is it capable, or is it accessible for me at all times under all circumstances? The other thing I want to think about is off-body carry. You know, I'm not a fan of off-body carry at all. Purses, bags, stuff like that.
I will do it from time to time depending on the situation. However, like when I go running, right? I haven't bought a small subcompact gun yet to run with. So I still carry my Glock. I can't carry my Glock in a Remore holster and running shorts.
You carry it in a fanny pack.
No, I don't. I actually stick it because I also have children.
A tactical fanny pack.
Yeah. With my vest. But I have children and, you know, ginormo double strobe. It's like the size of this freaking table, right?
Okay, tank.
Yeah. So I stick it in my diaper bag. I kind of leave the pocket that I put it in unzipped, and I stick it down in the bottom so that if I need to, I know exactly where it's at and how to get it out. And I know what's going to happen when I try to get it out.
Yes, you're right.
That's the only instance when I do something like that.
And I know that you've thought about it a lot. Again, my problem with off-body carry is if you become separated from a stroller.
I've got bigger problems.
Okay, but listen, you get knocked down, fall down. And I'm not even talking about a person. I mean,
no,
where
no,
you
I
live
gotcha.
could be a cougar and not like a 6-year-old single lady. I'm talking about,
Right, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
a mountain lion, right?
Right, yeah.
It could be something like that. You
Right.
know, it could be whatever. And
I
so,
gotcha.
like for me, that's the problem with off-body carries. It's having been through a lot of the training and the experience that I have with weapon retention and things like that. It's hard enough to keep your gun on you
It
if
is.
somebody wants it. It's hard enough to do that. Imagine now that it's easily detached from you. So,
Right.
you know, that's like when you look at purses, bags, you know, fanny packs. Again, what does it tell about you? If a guy like me put a fanny pack on, seriously, gun, dude. There's no reason a guy like me is gonna be wearing a fanny pack. This isn't freaking 1989 anymore, right? I'm not gonna be wearing a fanny pack. You know, when you see the guy with, I think I was telling you about you last time we were talking on the phone.
Tactical pants and the tactical vest.
Yeah, there's a guy up in my neck of the woods. You know, I've lived there for long enough, kind of get to know some of the locals. And this guy's wearing his NRA hat with his NRA buttons all over it, and his tactical pants with his boots and a vest. And I'm like, dude, you look like you're carrying a gun. Now, take my old man, who's actually going to come on the show here again. Yeah, he was on the show earlier this year. He's going to be on the show again.
Maybe I'll get a chance to talk to him some more.
Next couple of weeks, he's probably going to be here in town, so he's probably going to come on. I think starting next week.
Nice.
We can get his old man opinion on stuff.
Yeah.
But when you look at my dad, you know, he's an old cowboy. So when he wears an old vest, he looks like he's the kind of guy that should be wearing a vest. You're like, well, that makes sense. That looks like him. He doesn't stand out from the crowd. He doesn't draw attention to him. So that's another thing you have to think about. You know, you're going to remember this. We were down south in Arizona teaching a class, and a lady was like, hey, I got this cool new gun purse.
Oh, yeah.
And we look on the front of it, and what's emblazoned on the side of it?
There were 2 great big silver guns on it.
2 pistols
Like cross
crossed,
pistols.
and you're like, you're drawing attention to yourself here.
Yeah.
You know, you're drawing attention to the fact
But
that
in that
highly
area,
likely chance that there's a
in that area, though, there's a lot of ranchers, a lot of cowboys, and that's kind of a style of dress for them. So it
But again, I don't, and actually, that's actually a really good point. You don't want to not stand out so much that you stand out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? The blending idea. So I think that's really maybe the term we should start using instead of, hey, I don't want to stand out. It's more like I want to blend.
Yeah.
Right? I just want to be that guy that you don't notice.
Urban camouflage.
Urban camo, right? All right, we got to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk specifically about deep concealment. We'll start by real quickly, John and I'll just tell how we carry and what we use. Then we're going to go into deep concealment. I'm going to talk about a couple different concealment methods I've used over the years that really get the gun out of sight. Now, remember, this is always you're trading access for concealability, but I'll talk about a couple different methods I've used over the years to really, really hide the gun, and maybe some of those things will work for you, or may just lead you down the path to discover the way that'll work for you. So when we come back, we talk about more deep concealment, kind of concealment in general. You are listening to The Arms Room.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Breaker 1-9. How about that bandit? You got them ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Do you need an extra push to start your day? Well, then tune in to Addie's Radio. Addie's Radio is a show that explores tough questions in an open and fun forum. The program also engages hard-hitting issues concerning veterans' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This show airs every Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vets On Media Network. Addie's Radio is hosted by Jesse James, a combat veteran of Afghanistan, so he knows the problems that veterans face every day. Jesse provides you guidance each and every week to be a better you. So tune into yourself each week by tuning into Addie's Radio. Go to vetsonmedia.com for show details.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets On Media Network.
All right, you're back on the Arms Room. Wow, that sounds weird.
Whoa.
Echoey. Echo. All right, so I hope that's not echoing on the user's end. What did you change? What did you touch?
I didn't touch anything.
It was perfect before we went.
He didn't touch anything. You're in the twilight.
Yeah, John's echoing too, man. What did you do, Mason?
Anywho.
Right. Anyways. All right. So other things to consider about deep concealment. So while we were on the break, we had a question or kind of a comment really from one of our very good listeners, Tim, and Tim brought up the question of carrying lights as deep concealment. And we kind of talked last week about the whole improvised weapons kind of concept, lights, and different other types of tools you can carry. So we're not going to talk about that too much, but I do want to mention that anything that we applied to guns this week, you can apply to any other tool. And part of the reason that Tim's asking about this, is why might I not want to carry my flashlight? Well, because if I clip my flashlight typically onto a pocket, well, it kind of looks like a pocket knife clip.
It does.
Right. And so that's something that might draw attention to me from security. Like if I'm going to, let's say, a baseball game or something like that. Right. And, the last thing I want is for security to spot that and come over and harass me or harangue me or whatever. So I really want to make sure that that thing is hidden. So any technique we're talking about, any kind of concealment technique with clothing and all that kind of stuff, good belts, right? I mean, I can take my flashlight and slide it inside, my pants, just obviously between my underwear and my pants, and clip it to a good belt or clip it to my pants, and it's going to be totally hidden, right? And it still gives me quick access to it. Oh, there it is. It's gone. What happened? He pushed a button, didn't he? You did. It's gone now.
No, you're good now.
Why was it echoing?
Because I'm awesome and I fixed it. So
let's just go with it.
Look at Adam over there. All right.
Almost a perfect day. Almost.
You almost made it, kid. All right. Oh, wow. So Tim says, basically, I'm going to read the rest of his comment. He just sent us another message here.
No, when you're supposed to read it out loud.
I'm not going to read this particular one out loud.
Oh, okay.
So basically what he's talking about is different parts of carrying. And he's kind of getting ahead of where we're headed here. And he makes a really good point. And I can't read it out loud because it's kind of got some personal information in there, but I will address the issue. That's why it's a message and not a post thing.
A message, not a post.
So, so what I'm going to talk about is, or what we're going to talk about is deep concealment methods I have personally tried that work and don't work. All right. One of the very first deep concealment methods I ever tried that worked well for me was the 511 compression shirt.
Yeah.
All right. Now this isn't for everybody, and I apologize. I was going to bring that and a couple other holsters in that I've used, and I totally forgot this morning. I apologize for that. But if anyone wants some information on these products, obviously you can Google them. You can always send us a message, and I'm happy to give you the info. But the 511 compression shirt works perfectly. Underneath your clothing, you pop open a button, reaching from the top, reaching from the bottom, and you can get access. The gun is kept under your arm. Spare magazine or even backup gun kept underneath your other arm. It's well padded. I've seen some other knockoffs of it. They suck.
Yeah, they do.
The 511 compression one
suck bad.
Yeah, it's made it now. The other ones are cheaper. Mm-hmm. They're $30. 511 one's like $70, and we'll just save a little bit of money. Don't.
No, spend the $70, bro.
Spend $70. Really, really great shirt. Really, really like it. Used it quite a bit, especially for shirt and tie kind of work. Mm-hmm. So very, very, very good deep concealment holster stuff. Very, very good thing. Another deep concealment thing I used was obviously the Remora. Mm-hmm. Now, why is Remora deep concealment? Because it doesn't require any belts or any clips or buckles or anything like that to hold it in place. So there's no obvious telltale signs on the belt line that say there's a holster tucked in here. Right. They're also relatively small in diameter. Mm-hmm. Not diameter, profile. So they're easy to kind of smash flat. So it helps to also keep that bulkiness of a leather or a Kydex or anything like that. Another great deep concealment holster that I've used is a simple trigger guard.
Yeah.
So a trigger guard is just a piece of Kydex that clips onto the gun, and you can get them. Again, Jason over at TCB Holsters makes them. He made mine. The Vanguard is a really cool one. A very, very cool piece of equipment. It clips to the belt, and basically all it does is cover up the trigger guard for a safety and slight retention. So it helps keep the gun in place, especially for carrying appendix carry. Yeah,
it's great for appendix.
So a lot of times when I'm really trying to hide a gun, I will go to appendix. I have tried the no joke like crotch carry. All right, kind of like the thunderwear concept without the thunderwear. We're basically like clipped on crotch carry, where you're literally just you get those little clips that will attach to the gun, and some of them cover the trigger guard, some of them don't. I've tried both. I don't like anything that doesn't cover the trigger guard.
Yeah,
really like to have that trigger guard covered. Yeah, and I've tried that where literally instead of the appendix, where it's still kind of at like a 1 o'clock position or 11 o'clock position, I carry it directly. I mean, almost lined up. And the reason being is because it gives you the opportunity. If someone is going to be checking you, normally they're not checking your crotch.
True.
Most people aren't going to be looking at your crotch, and most security guys don't really want to touch a lot in your crotch area. Mm-mm. And so you can really hide a gun there.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Now, understand, let me hit this with a quick legal disclaimer. I am not saying that you should try to use any of these techniques or any techniques we ever talk about to get through security where you are not supposed to legally be carrying a gun.
You're probably going to fail if you do.
You're probably going to get caught. All right. What I am saying is that if you are in a position you can legally carry and you're trying to carry a gun without being made or without being spotted, here's a couple methods that you might want to consider. So as an example, I can take, like, I've got a little Keltec PF9 and people can, well, it's the worst gun ever. You know what? Mine has never failed me. I hate it because it's got a tremendous amount of recoil.
Sucks to shoot, by the way.
But I've shot it enough and trained with it enough. I can really dump some rounds down range with it. I don't like shooting a lot. Like we mentioned earlier, big guns shoot a lot. Little guns carry. But the idea is that it was a relatively inexpensive gun that I can buy that I'm not super concerned about if it does get taken away, confiscated, something like that.
Right.
It's not going to break my heart. But the other thing is that it's relatively small. It's really small, but it's big enough for my hand. I looked at the smaller guns, didn't like them. Carried a PM9 for a while. Good little gun, too small. It's too small for my hand. I like the PF9. It kind of fills up my hand a little bit more. Not the best sights, not the best gun. You kind of tune them up a little bit. You change a couple internal parts on them. They're really good guns. I like mine a lot. You can talk bad about them if you want. That's fine. But I really like my gun. And I can get a clip that attaches onto that. It actually replaces the takedown pins.
Yeah.
And so now I've got a clip attached directly to the gun. Then I throw a trigger guard on that, right? And then I take that trigger guard. It's got a piece of paracord. I loop that around my belt. I can also loop it on the inside of my pants, right? And so now I can clip that thing in an appendix or a straight up crotch carry. And that thing is invisible, dude. It is invisible. The butt is still up, easy for me to get a hold of. My chance of getting checked there, touched there, bumping into someone there, something like that, much less than someone bumping into my side. Sometimes you get hugged, someone will reach around and grab your gun. I know you've had that happen. You're like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, what is that? Oh, it's my big pacemaker. I mean, whatever. Or, my insulin pump. I mean,
it's my cell phone.
Pacemaker. My insulin pump. It's my cell phone. It's my whatever. Some people I just go, yeah, it's my gun. But it's uncomfortable. You consider a weapons access thing. Someone can still see it. They can still feel it. You press up against someone in a crowd, a subway, whatever. Someone might be able to feel that. And so, you can take a small gun, as I mentioned, put a trigger guard on that thing, a little built-in clip. Thing's invisible.
Oh yeah,
it's invisible. So there are some things that I have found for really good deep cover concealment. There's a lot of other stuff. Thunderwear, you wear inside your pants. So you have to like stick your hand in your crotch.
Yeah, crotch carry.
Pull it out. Crotch carry. Straight up crotch carry. You've got, the belly bands. Of course, they've got the flashbang holster for ladies that attaches to the bra. The actual bra carry stuff. We're actually be doing a video with our female instructor, Kat Thomas, on a lot of those different types of female stuff. She's
been working those for a couple of months.
She's really been trying them all out so we can get a really good assessment, training with them, trying with them. She's going to come through some classes with them. So we're gonna try to get some better idea of that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of other videos out there you guys can check out. But a lot of the problem with those types of carries and a lot of the other types of carries out there is you're trading accessibility for concealability. And so you really have to understand that dynamic. Yes, there are better ways. There are super secret, corsets and all this kind of stuff for ladies, even guys, they make belly bands and all these types of things. That's great. It's not a terrible idea,
right?
But don't trade accessibility for concealability. I would rather have good access to my gun than concealable. Now, that being said, I'm not an undercover narcotics officer. I'm not operating behind enemy lines. I'm not trying to typically carry a gun in a place I'm not legally allowed to. So if you're trying to do that, okay, you may consider a deeper form of concealment. But remember, what's your weapons access? Are you able to access the gun? And of course, have you trained that way? Don't train off your hip and carry somewhere else. Right. What have you found, John, that you think works for you?
I've never really done a lot of the deep concealment. I mean, I carry appendix all the time, and I carry a Glock 19, and I'll say 99% of the people that I run into have no idea that I'm carrying a gun. It does print a little bit. I have to sometimes, depending on what I'm wearing or what shirt I'm wearing, I have to slide it around a little bit. So I end up with more of a crotch carry. But I mean, that's really it for me. And one of the biggest reasons I went to the appendix carry is, one was accessibility. Two, I'm a lefty. So, and when I'm driving, I realized that getting my gun from between my door and my body and my seatbelt and everything. It was just not going to work. Whereas with appendix, I mean, it totally changes that dynamic. And now I can just, hey, get off my truck. Not that I would shoot someone for taking my truck, but anyhow. So I mean, that's really all I do. Or like I said, when I'm out running with my kids, and the reason I go with off body at that time is because I don't have the scratch for another gun right now that I can run with.
Sure.
I mean that's the simplest answer I have for that.
Well, and
I understand
that's an issue everyone else faces, though, Jim.
Right. And I understand that trade-off that I'm giving up.
Sure.
I totally get that if something happens to me and my stroller goes careening away with my children in it and I'm stuck laying on the ground, well, there goes my gun and my kids.
And that's my, like, I would almost rather in your situation, I would seriously like
just
get
not
a fanny pack and put a G19 in. I would rather be that guy. I mean, look,
and
dude,
I'm looking
you're already a dad running with
and
stroller.
I'm
You're probably not
looking at
dragging in
other
a lot of
options,
tail,
so.
running your stroller in your neighborhood where you live. So no one really cares about your fanny pack. So, I mean, honestly, like,
and I'm looking at other options for that.
If it was me, that's what I would do. I would get some way to attach that thing to my body, even if it's still kind of off body. Fanny pack be taken away, ripped off, whatever, brake strap or whatever.
Yeah.
Come on.
I got you.
I would still rather do that than attach it, the other way. So really, consider that kind of stuff. Off body carry is a big deal for people with concealment. Ladies want to put it in a purse, but then they want to put that purse over their shoulder. Look, put that thing around your shoulder. Do a cross body, so the strap's going across your chest across your chest. I mean, and you've got basically the purse on one side of your body and the strap on the other side of your body. That way, at the minimum, can't be taken away. And some people go, well, yeah, but then someone grabs it and then you're on it. Yeah, I'd rather have that. I'd rather be attached to somebody. No, I don't want to be attached to someone in a fight, but I would rather be attached to my gun in a fight than have them take it away from me and either A, give a free gun to the enemy, or B, end up in a situation where
I'm staring down the barrel of my own gun.
I'm staring down the barrel of my own gun. Right. So really consider that when you're looking at off-body carry. Can you actually maintain control of firearm? Are you trading accessibility for concealability? And we also have to look at all this from a safety perspective, because we don't want to shoot ourselves. So we got to make sure the trigger guard's covered, right? Once a year at least here in Arizona, we have a situation where some guys, holsterless carrying or Mexican carrying, nothing in there, and boom, he's dicking around with it, moving it. There was a guy dicking around.
How
boom.
Totally appropriate.
Totally appropriate.
Just went all fifth grade on you
and
there.
accidentally the trigger guard even catches on something, or the trigger, catches on something. Boom, just charges around into him, into the ground, and somebody else, whatever. So, really be careful about that kind of stuff. Really watch out for your safety. Is your gun contained in the holster? Is the holster securing your firearm? Really, really important that it is. So, I think I have maybe one more. What else are we going to talk about? I think that's about what we wanted to cover. And so the idea of concealment is really, don't dress around the gun, but understand that you may have to modify your fashion every day. Your overall idea or concept of what your fashion is.
Well, and it's like you
in order
said,
to make it more accessible.
I think you said it last week, or maybe it was like before. It's concealing a handgun is not just throwing your t-shirt over it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I may have to modify some things. I'm not dressing around the gun, but I'm modifying my overall clothing selection. Understand that, not everyone can carry a full-size gun, but that doesn't mean you have to go to the tiniest gun in the world either.
Right.
It's a stair-step thing. Look at this one. Okay, too big. Look at that one. All right, that works. Or still too big. If you end up with the tiny little gun, great. But at least you went through the whole process. Don't go from big giant gun to tiny little gun. There's stair steps in there, right?
Right.
And lastly, don't trade accessibility for concealability. All right. Don't get some crazy holster selection. I can't tell you what the right holster is for your situation. We can't. There's too many
times out of 10,
holsters.
up until the last couple of years, I couldn't have told you what the right holster was for me until I found this one.
And John and I, I mentioned before the break, we're going to talk about how we carry. We're very basic in how we carry.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a good belt. We've got a good Kydex holster made from our friend over at TCB Holsters. We carry a handgun. I carry on my, my normal shooting side, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock position with a backup magazine on my left side. John, you carry appendix.
That is correct.
Same type of holster.
Same holster. Same company. I also carry a spare mag on my right.
Because you're wrong-handed.
No.
So, understand that that's kind of what we're looking at. Set up a situation that works for you. For us, that works. We're very traditional carry kind of guys. It works for us. It works for
I
our
don't need
lifestyle.
anything fancy.
We can't tell you what the right holster is for your lifestyle. Just understand the fundamentals and use those fundamentals or those basic concepts to help you find the right holster.
Do your research, do your due diligence, and don't be afraid to spend a couple of bucks here and there. You're going to go through a few holsters before you find the right one. It's going to happen. I've seen your box of holsters. The thing's outrageous.
It's awesome.
I ended up getting rid of all of my extra ones, so I think I've still got a few, but anyhow.
So before we leave, we want to talk about the Vetraplex. We talked last week about this, and we really want to mention it again because it really is worth mentioning twice. If you own a business and you'd like to employ some veterans, and please do. A lot of guys come home, man, they really struggle finding work, not because they're stupid or they can't work or they're lazy or anything like that. It's just tough for them to make that transition. And please understand, there's this thing I was talking about with a friend of mine last week. Please understand the very unique and specific obstacles that some of our veterans are facing when they come back from being overseas, or they're trying to transition from military life into civilian life. And please be patient with them when you're employing them. Please be patient with them. Help them out. Look to them as an opportunity to mentor somebody.
It's not a particularly easy transition.
Yeah, easier for some than others. But the Vetraplex handyman construction landscape business is a great opportunity. It's a great way for you to get a startup business going, and you can get it for 0% financing for qualified people, of course. By owning a Vetraplex franchise, you're going to be hiring veterans, providing with income, opportunity, and providing your customers with a way to say thanks for your service to the veterans, and that we appreciate everything that all veterans have done. We got Veterans Day coming up tomorrow, and always looking for an opportunity to say thanks to veterans for all the things that they've done for us. Please visit vetraplex.org. Again, vetraplex.org for more information on this opportunity. And we also really want to thank our friends. We're going to be talking about them more and more over the next coming months. We want to thank our friends over at AR500 Armor for doing all that they do for us. We're going to have some of their equipment in here shortly to be kind of demonstrated, and we're going to use it a lot on the show and tell you guys a little bit more about their products. We're going to have them back in January and talking more about armor concepts and why people should own armor and the legality of armor and all that kind of good stuff. So look forward to that show in January. We got a new calendar coming up shortly. We have more shows left on this calendar. Next week, I know it's gone fast, isn't it?
Jesus.
Next week, we're going to be talking about commonly overlooked emergency prep items. This was a show that was requested specifically by some listeners. And in fact, all of our shows are really requested by listeners. That's how we build our calendars.
That's how we build our schedules.
But this one was requested quite a bit last time. So commonly overlooked emergency prep items. Basically, what are the things that people don't stock up on? What are the things that people aren't preparing for whatever that emergency is in their life? What are the things that people are commonly overlooking? Until next week, stay aware, stay safe, train hard. You have been listening to The Arms Room.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that I'm not there. Oh, say